Okay. All righty. We're ready. Everybody come to attention. Back. Good work. Everybody stretched out a little bit, correct? Your mics are off, so you're not going to be able to answer me back. But let's get busy on a couple things. We're going to work on some kicks to start off with. So there's basically three kind of kicks that we do in our school. We do snap kicks, like front snap kicks and round kicks, where the speed and the force, for the most part, comes from snapping your kick, snapping your knee. In round kicks, there's some crank that's involved in the round kick because you're turning around, but then it's a snap kick. And then side kicks, like we worked on Tuesday, are thrust kicks, where you're kicking with your heel, and you want that force to start from your hip. So the other kind of kick is a swing kick, for lack of a better word. So crescent kicks and hook kicks and spinning hook kicks are swing kicks. All right, so we're going to work on that a little bit, and I want to make a couple points on that. Let me see if I can get myself where you can see me. That's too much. Sorry. All right, there we are. All right, so I'm going to do a crescent kick with this is my left side. So I'm going to do a crescent kick with my left leg. And say my target was somebody standing right in front of me, right where my hand is. So what's really important about these swing kicks is how you follow through. So when you do a crescent kick, for example, it's not an axe kick, so you don't want to bring it up and then drop it straight down. Even if you hit your target, you wouldn't be going through your target. So the kick would actually decelerate right before you hit that spot and drop down. What we want to do is accelerate on that spot. So like right here before we hit our target to about here when we go through the target, that piece right there, we want to be going as fast as we can go. All right, so crescent kick comes up and across. Watch me do that again. You see how my foot is ending up over here. And that's what's really important about these kicks. All right, so I see people do the kick. Like I said, they die out. Sometimes they get right before the target. Sometimes they get just after the target, and then their kick drops out. That's from flexibility and also from not opening your hip. So as you do this kick, see I'm turning this way to crank the kick up, and then I'm opening my hip up. So my body's this way. Watch Angie's video on an iron butterfly, she makes the same point. She's doing a different crescent kick, and we'll get to that in a minute. But she makes the point about turning your body. If you hold your body still, the kick dies out. Okay? All right, so everybody get into whichever stance you feel the most comfortable in. Then you want to picture your target, like I said. Disorienting to me, it's backwards. I could turn the screen, but then I'm not quite sure how I want to go on that. Anyway, so you're going to bring your leg up, and you want to try to get it over here, and then bring it all the way through. All right, so let's try that once. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hup! All right, Kelly's going to step in there. 1. Bring this down a little bit for her. 2, 3, 4. Good kick. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody just came in, but I'm not sure who. Okay. All right, switch feet. Now the other way. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let me make a point here with Kelly. So Kelly just adjusted her height. So before she was kicking pretty much her head high, and the kick was coming up and then coming down quickly. So she lowered the kick, and then she was able to open up more. So everyone needs to do that and progressively work your kick up. Just like speed and kata. You progressively pick up your speed in your kata. You can't learn Chun-Ji first day of class and then do it as fast as you can. So the same thing applies with kicking techniques. You have to do it where you're capable of doing it and you have the flexibility, and then gradually work your height up. You know, I say in class, nobody's on the ceiling, so we're not really interested in kicking as high as we can. But there's a principle in Taekwondo that if you can kick high strong, you can kick low even stronger. And so that's one of the things that we want to work on. All right, so adjust your height. If you feel like you're going up and down real quick, adjust your height so that you can open your hip up more. All right, let's try a few more on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. All right. Okay, now let's work on the other crescent kick. So that is an outside crescent kick because you're kicking. I know you guys like to see me, so I move the camera so you can see. An outside crescent kick, you're kicking from the inside out. Inside out. An inside crescent kick then would be the other way, kicking from the outside in. This is the kick that is in the iron butterfly. An iron butterfly is our name for the kick. It's a jump spinning inside crescent kick. All right, so we're not going to do the iron butterfly. We're just going to do the inside crescent kick. So you bring your foot up. Again, my target is like I'm standing here and somebody's right in front of me, head high. And I'm going to bring my foot up and across. Just like the other kick, we don't want to come up and down. That's what's called an axe kick. We're going to come across. One of the reasons for that is an axe kick might be a valid technique, but it's dangerous in tournaments. You come down on somebody's collarbone, you hit them on the top of the head. That could be a dangerous technique with strong people. So I don't really encourage that kick a whole lot. It's really hard to control. With a crescent kick, you can slap somebody with it if there was head contact. In our tournaments, of course, it's not. So you're going to go right in front of the target. So I'm going to come up. Like Angie was saying in her video, my shoulders are going to turn because I want to come across. Here and across. See how my shoulders turn. Here and across. Again. All right. So Kelly's going to do this one with you. Camera at the right angle. All right, so Kelly's kicking with her left leg. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that up. Just for a second. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, switch feet. Ready? 1, 2. Here again, Kelly adjusted her height on this side. So she's kicking about this high, but she's doing the kick really correctly. If she tried to go higher, she'd start hacking the kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Work. Okay, before we do the next kick, I don't want to forget to mention this. So we have 4 of the Greensboro Karate Institute instructors have posted 20 to 30 minute lessons, and I posted them on, we have 3 websites on Facebook. And, well, first of all, we have the group site, which you can post stuff on. We have the Karate Do site and the Greensboro Karate Institute Taekwondo site. So just to keep things sorted, the Taekwondo site has lots of training videos on it. And I'm posting these classes on the Greensboro Karate Institute Taekwondo site. The rest of the instructors, Marjorie, David, Lenny, and Angie, have all done short classes, and I posted those on the Greensboro Karate Institute Karate Do site. So these are under videos, and everybody's device looks different. So it's hard for me to tell you exactly how to get into them, but I looked at one person's phone, and in order to get to the video, you had to click more on the menu. And when you click more on the menu, you got a drop-down menu that had video on it. So on that site, those 4 instructors have posted 20 to 30 minute classes, and they're all really good. Angie's class happens to be on iron butterfly. Lenny did a class on foot position and front kicks. Marjorie did a class on cat stances and back stances. And I posted David Hankins today. That was on basic striking techniques for self-defense. The other thing I wanted to mention is Mr. Perkins is here. He, in his class, is the Mid-Atlantic Karate Association. And on his webpage, he's doing classes every Monday and Wednesday. And these are short classes, 20 to 30 minutes. And they're really good classes. He's going over, like last class, he went over some of these kicks that we're doing tonight. And so those are very informative classes. There's no way I can post that video because they're posted on Facebook, so you can't take those videos and put them into a library. So what I can do, and I have, is I've put links on our page to his class. So every Monday and Wednesday, he's having these classes, and if you have the opportunity, you want to go and check them out. Hamilton Perkins just posted Mid-Atlantic Karate Association Wednesday at 6. Not Monday? I'm waiting for a response. That one. Am I saying it wrong? Mid-Eastern Karate Association. All right. So I'm posting a link to those classes on my website. I apologize for that, Hamilton. I always mess up your dojo's name. All right. So the next kick that we want to practice is a hook kick. So a hook kick has the same, or we have to have the same importance on a hook kick on relative to where our target is and where we're going to finish. So again, if my target is head high here, I don't want to bring my kick up and then drop it right away. I'll come back to something about competition in a minute. But what we want to do is have a full kick that is forceful, that would work. And then if we have to modify that force for competition, we're going to do that. But in order to modify that kick for competition, you have to have control of it. If you do the kick and you're out of control, you can't control how hard you're hitting somebody. So you have to be very precise with these kicks, especially like in Mr. Perkins' tournament, there is head contact. So you can make head contact, but you can't be excessive. So you have to be able to touch with it. So from here, I'm going to bring my foot kick across, and you'll see that my foot ends up back here, hopefully. So I'm going through the target. Target's here. I'm going through the target. Now, when I bend my knee back in, it's after I went through the target. So I come through the target, and then I bend my knee. So if you kick to the kidney, you're able to lift your leg up and pull it back in. But only Mr. Perkins could use a hook kick to the head that way. Because he's so tall, he can get his leg behind you and do that. But the rest of us don't have those long legs. So you have to practice going through it. All right? So again, I'm lifting, going through the target, and after I go through the target, I bend my knee back in. All right? Everybody set up for that? Now, you have to have your own imagination. Like Kelly's standing here, and she has to figure that her target is right here. And so as she's doing the kick, in her mind's eye, she has to think, okay, I got to end up back there. I don't want to go right to the target and drop. I want to go through the target. All right, let's try it. Ready? 1. Now, that's my fault. One thing that you might want to do is slide up to do this kick. So I was doing it standing still, but it might be easier for everybody if you slide up. So what I mean by that is you're going to bring your back foot up and then hook kick with the front leg. Ready? 1. Good work, Ellen. 2. Now, that kick she hacked, that one came down. And so you know in class sometimes I put my hand out like this and make you reach for it. Okay? And that's what happened. Her hip opened up. 1. All right, that's what I was saying, especially at home. You have to have that in your mind's eye, what you're doing there. 2. 3. 4. 5. Good work. 6. 7. 8. 9. Hup! Hup! Good. Everybody do a few of those on your own. right, that's good. Everybody turn around. Same thing on this side. Ready? 1, 2. So I'm going to give Kelly a tip here so everybody hear this. She's bringing her kick up pretty dramatically right here. Okay? What'll help her is if she brings it out here a little bit more. So that's done like we do step behind side kicks. When you slide up, turn your hip. Then that'll start your kick over here, and then you pull it back. All right, ready? 1. All right, so from here, when Kelly's pulling her leg across, it's this muscle on her leg that's doing the kick. It's not her knee. That's what I was saying about that. It's the pull of your quadricep back that makes the contact with the kick, not the bend of your knee. You would have, I could do it to one of the tiny kids, like Ethne. I could do it that way because I'm so much taller than her. But it's not practical to think that you're going to be able to do that kick that way to somebody that's your height. Ready? 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 1. 2. 3. 4. All right, practice that one a little bit on your own. All right, very good. Rest of it. Okay, let me take a minute, like we did Tuesday, and explain a little bit of history of our school. So, we study a combination of what I studied. So, Tuesday night we went over the Ishin-Ryu karate portion of what I studied and the lineage of that, which went through the founder of Ishin-Ryu, Tatsu Shimibuku, some of his students that trained with him in Okinawa and then came to the United States, and then one of their students, and then myself. Okay, so we covered that, and if you want to go back over that, you can look at Tuesday's class. The other thing that I practiced, and I started in this first, was in Taekwondo. So Taekwondo, like karate, is a faceted thing. There's many, many, many systems of Taekwondo. Before the Second World War, there were 8 main schools of Taekwondo. Because karate was becoming popular, the people that had practiced karate in Japan and practiced traditional, it was called Taekyun in Korea, wanted to formalize that into a organization. So they got together 8 schools, or in Korean, Kwons, and put them together into Taekwondo. General Choi was, I'll say, the president of this, and so he helped organize these people, even though they had diverse katas and techniques. Some of the techniques in the different styles were done differently. They unified together under an umbrella to promote the Korean art. In 1987, Taekwondo was on the verge of being in the Olympics. And there was a big movement in the Taekwondo world. And General Choi, who was being pressured by the Korean government, moved to Canada. So the Korean government set up another organization. That organization is what's now called the WTF. Right? So that's not as important as the lineage of our school. So my instructor, Mr. Kwon, his picture's right behind me here on the wall. I'm getting disorientated where my hand is, right up here. Oh, boy, that's hard to do, isn't it? Kelly's going to point it out. That's my instructor, Mr. Kwon. His name is Duko Kwon. I started practicing with him. I was riding my bike past his school. Some of you have heard the story, and I went in and said, hey, I might be interested in doing this. And he said, good. I said, can I try a class, like free, see if I like it? He said, no, it's $25. I said, well, what if I don't like it? He said, well, don't come back. So that was that. So I said, I don't have $25. He said, well, go get it. So I went and cut some grass, rode my bike over there, and started taking lessons. On the other side of me, this picture is him breaking 14 bricks. I'm not going to pull that off the wall. I'll show you at some other time, and it's on the website. So his breaking was part of my motivation to do breaking. Some of those pictures up there are me doing breaks. And I competed in breaking. So Mr. Kwon's lineage is, in school, he practiced Jido Kwon, which is what they still practice in the schools in Korea. But when he joined the military, they practiced Muda Kwon. Muda Kwon is more like hand-to-hand combat, or at that time it was. So Jido Kwon was, like all martial arts, an art of practicing concentration, focus, and self-discipline. Muda Kwon was not. Muda Kwon was hand-to-hand combat for the army people. All right, and then he was appointed, he was in charge of the Kukiwon. That's a really funny name, but it's a university, liberal arts university in Seoul, Korea, and they're the head, that's the headquarters for worldwide Taekwondo, now in the WTF. So when he came to the United States and started teaching classes, I started right after he got here. He could barely speak English. And so a lot of my teaching technique is from lessons that I had with him and corrections on how I talk to the parents and how I talk to students and that. Muda Kwon is a very power-orientated Taekwondo. So like I said before, Taekwondo is many-faceted. There's all kinds of different Taekwondo now. What we practice pretty much is that power version of Taekwondo that's based on Muda Kwon. All right, so I wanted to give you a little bit of information on that since we covered the karate portion the other day. All right, we're going to shift. In a future class, we'll work on a spinning hook kick. So everybody work on that hook kick that we were doing. Work on your crescent kicks. Try to visit Angie's class. Those classes are going to be permanently there. So you can go to that class, watch it, then watch it again. Same thing with these classes. I'm permanently posting them, not only on the Facebook sites, but also on YouTube and on our Greensboro Karate Institute Weebly site. There's all kinds of videos and training things there. So if you're going to do that iron butterfly that Angie was practicing, then you want to practice these crescent kicks and loosen up your hips so that you can effectively do the techniques. Oh, I meant to show you one more thing about this hook kick. I need Kelly for this. Get her in position. I want her. So, if we were in competition and I was going to score a hook kick on Kelly, I can't go through her head. So I have to be able to bring my kick up and then bring it back down. All right? Bringing it up and then bringing it back down. The more control I have of that kick, the more I can reach in a little bit with my foot and maybe even touch a little bit and bring it back down. So I want to emphasize again that in order to have that kind of control on the kick, you have to be able to do the full motion, and the full motion strong. You can't come up and have control of that kick if you don't have the full motion. Several of you have talked about this with sidekicks. If you cannot extend your sidekick all the way out, you don't have control of it. So when you're hitting somebody, you really don't know how hard you're hitting them, because where they're at changes the contact. But if you can extend your kick all the way out, you have control of it. And if you see that you're going to drive really hard into somebody, you back off a little bit. But you can only do that if you have control of the kick. So part of controlling kicks is to have the full range of motion. Then you'll be able to control the technique. And then, of course, with 1/3 speed sparring, you practice it. All right, so now let's shift to self-defense. So in previous classes, we worked on some techniques from a cat stance. So we move this way into a cat stance and block. I'm going to leave the camera where it is because you'll be able to see me a little better. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring it down to my legs a little bit. All right, so this is Kelly's right leg that's in front. So I'm going to start, or my entry technique is going to be a snap side kick. Hear what I said, a snap side kick. So that's different than our thrust side kick. This is the kick from Won-Soo. So you lift your knee up and you snap the outside edge of your foot into their knee and then back. That's going to be our entry technique. Once we get in, then we're going to follow up. And we have 2 hands and 2 feet again. So we can do 4 different combinations starting with that snap kick. And that's what we're going to do. So we blocked here. We're going to do a snap kick, and now I want to do a technique with my left hand. So what fits really good is an elbow. Let me move the camera up a little bit so you can see me elbow Kelly. From here, snap side kick into the elbow. So this is part of that power thing that we were working on a couple classes ago. A lateral movement into that elbow. I'm making the elbow stronger because I'm moving laterally with it. All right, so I'm here, snap side kick, elbow. You're going to punch again. Lock, snap side kick, elbow. Notice I looked at Kelly when I threw that elbow because I want to be in control of that. If she moves, I have to back off that elbow a little bit because I don't want to crease her in the jaw with a hard elbow. All right? Like the other night, we'll do 2 of these, and then I'll let you practice with Kelly. So we're going to start the same thing, a snap side kick. Now we have to hit with our right hand. So there's a variety of techniques that we can do. We can do a reverse punch, which we do quite a bit. We can do one of the strikes, like knife hand strike, palm up, or vertical back fist. We can also elbow, and this elbow would be more like a reverse punch. It's my hip turning behind that elbow, whether it's to the body like I'm doing here, or to the head. All right, so our power generation is different. It's not from a lateral movement or a forward movement. It's from cranking, using our body twist to generate more force. You know, if I hit her with the elbow, I'd hit her with the elbow. It would hurt anyway. But the idea is to try to get as much force as we can, especially when we're practicing. So I'm here. I'm using the snap side kick to enter. The elbow as a finishing blow. Okay, let's practice those two with Kelly. Let me get her head on the thing. So everybody's familiar with the snap sidekick now. All right, let's go. Ready? Lock. So your lead leg is your left leg, snap sidekick. And she did the left elbow. So that's all left side. Left side kick. Excuse me, left side block, left side kick, left side elbow. And again, when you're practicing by yourself, home alone here, you have to visualize where your partner would be. Some of you have family members, so you can practice with them, but those that don't, you have to use your visual imagination, which ought to be very good because you practice that every day when you do your katas. Block, snap side kick, elbows. Good. All right, all three of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's switch to the second technique. Block. Again, we're going to enter with a snap side kick. Then right hand elbow. So your body cranks and you come across. Good work. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. Good and strong on this one. Ha! Ha! Work. Okay. So where we're at with this now is we have two techniques left. A right leg and a left leg. So the question might be, why do we have so many techniques from the same block or the same entry technique? The reason for that is how aggressive your opponent comes in. So on the snap side kicks into the elbows, we're practicing if our opponent is right on top of us. And the advanced students, the green belts and above, you're familiar with doing this when you do the single line. And so you know that everybody that comes in on the single line comes in a little bit different. I don't know if David Hankins is here. I don't think he is. But David Hankins is one of the most aggressive people on that line. He comes charging in. So you would not have room enough to kick and then follow up with another kick. He's too close to you. You'd have to follow up with something close in like an elbow or a punch. Actually, an elbow or a strike. The punch is the mid-range technique. The technique where you're not close enough to do an elbow, but not far enough away to do a kick. The kicking techniques come in when somebody's a little tentative when they're attacking and you have more space. And this all is relative to self-defense. The reason you want to have all these different techniques is we never want to be in a situation where you're actually using your karate for self-defense, but that's what we're practicing. So if your opponent's right on you, then you use elbow and striking techniques. If your opponent's a little tentative coming in, use kicking techniques. Or if you're moving away, you use kicking techniques. All right, so again, we're going to start the same way. Kelly's going to throw for punch, and I'm going to do a snap side kick, and now I have a left leg and a right leg. So one of the reasons we practice what we practiced today is I'm going to take my left leg and do a crescent kick this way. So I'm here, snap side kick, I touch the floor, and then crescent kick. See how I went through her head on the kick. One more time. Lock, snap, touch the floor, and then press. All right. Kelly made mention that what I'm doing is moving her arm so that I don't accidentally hack her arm. But she also mentioned she's not going to fight me on that. When we're practicing in class, she's not going to hold herself stiff and hard where I can't move her arm, because then she potentially could get hit with the kick, especially if I miss kick, if I don't do it the way that I want it to. All right. The other thing we're going to do is kick with the other leg. The other night we did some high kicks, so I'm going to do a low kick this time. So I'm going to block, snap side kick, and then with my right leg, I'm going to grab her right shoulder and kick between the legs. I'm going to move the camera so that you can see that. So I'm blocking, I'm snap side kicking here, and I'm reaching and grabbing her shoulder, and then I'm kicking with my shin between the legs, with my shin. Not with my knee, with my shin. I could do a knee if I was closer. Kelly asked that question, but I'm not that close. I'm close enough to kick with my shin, but too close to kick with the ball of my foot, and too far away to kick with the knee. Again, that's different ranges depending on how aggressive your opponent is. So we're preparing for these different ranges by having an answer for close in the middle, further away. We wouldn't want to practice techniques only further away, because then that's what we would be prepared for, and that's it. So we want to have techniques where we're in close, mid-range, far away. Now, when you're doing two-man self-defense like I'm doing with Kelly right now, I'm creating that distance because she's stable. She's throwing her punch and she's just standing there. So I'm adjusting how far away I am. When we do the single line, you don't have that control. The line's coming in, and you have to adapt yourself to how close they get to you. So you have to be prepared. You have to have, again, close-in techniques, mid-range techniques, and long-range techniques so that you can deal however somebody comes in. From here, snap side kick. You wouldn't have to grab her shoulder, but I'm grabbing her shoulder just for emphasis. And then a shin kick between the legs. That's sort of like a lift. It's not so much a snap. It's more like a thrust kick. A lift up kick. Like a field goal kicker kind of kick. Ah! That was fun. Okay. Kelly's going to practice those two with you. Ready? 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. Work. All right, now we're going to block left, snap side kick left, and then shin kick between the legs right. Ready? 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. All right. I'm going to let you do some on your own. Let me give you some ideas on this right leg kick. So you could do a turning side kick with your right leg. You could do an inside crescent kick with your right leg. You could do a back leg round kick with your right leg. You could do a right leg horizontal knee, which is this technique. So I'm here, I'm going to do the snap side kick, and then I'm going to horizontal knee this way. This is the kick like the beginning of a round kick. Right? So those are all different variations of that same combination. The advanced students especially, and we have quite a few advanced students here tonight, you should be familiar with all those different techniques that you can do from all those different stances. You should experiment and try different techniques. All right. So on your own, go a few times and try to change up the last kick. And if you think of something that I didn't mention, do that one too. Go. All right, good enough. All right, so before we finish up on self-defense, I'm showing you a lot of techniques, and part of what I want you to do is be imaginative and come up with your own different combinations or different ways of doing the combination. So then the question is, well, what is a good technique and what is a bad technique? So a bad technique would be if you change your position entirely. So like if Kelly punches for me, and I go over here to block, and I do something, and then I run around on this side and do a knee. Well, that's not practical. It doesn't flow from one technique to the next. So it seems silly, but I've seen a lot worse. All right. The same thing applies with when you're throwing a technique. Like, for example, let's say that I did block and I started with knife hand strike palm up, and I came through and then decided that I was going to hit her with this elbow on this side of the head. So I went through and I'm here, and then I reversed myself back to do the elbow, and you see what Kelly did. She hit me. That's what's wrong with those techniques, because it doesn't flow. So if you're there and you want to do an elbow, the elbow is this one, because it's right there. You're coming right off of your technique and going right into that next technique. That's what dictates your follow-up, is what position are you in. So you have to pick a technique that's going to work and flow into the target. There are no wrong techniques. Let me say it that way. There's only bad execution. And bad execution is if you're out of position and then you insist upon doing a technique. So you have to arrange your techniques that way. So we have a template for this on the Greensboro Karate Institute Taekwondo site under videos, the whole entire self-defense program, 48 different combinations using the 4 stances, using lead hand techniques to start off with, using backhand techniques to start off with, and using lead leg techniques to start off with. There's videos on all of them. So if you're confused or you want to get more techniques, that's what you do. That's why I posted them on the video. All right. So we have about 8 minutes left almost. So Kelly volunteered to go first. So she's going to do a kata for you. Let me get her in a position where you can see her. Okay. Good. I'm going to have Kelly do it again in a minute because I'm going to have her back up a little bit so that she's got more room to do it. But let's get somebody else to do one. I got to look at my pin thing here and see who's next in line. I see you, Madeline, but I promised the black belts I was going to let them do one tonight. So if we get through them all, we'll have you do one too. All right. So there you are, Miss Streck. I'm ready for you. Go ahead. Very good. Good job. And thank you for that, Marjorie, because you gave me another opening. So that kata is Safa. Safa is not in the Ishinryu style, and it's also not in Taekwondo. We learned that kata from a guest instructor teaching. So one of the things that we can do, because we more or less have an eclectic system that's based on karate and Taekwondo, when we get information, and in this case a kata from another style, we're able to incorporate that kata into our practice. Some schools are rigid in their style. They only do their style. They don't do anything else. And usually that style is dictated by the instructor's body style and flexibility and what they're comfortable with. And even Taekwondo schools are that way. So that's why we do American karate. That's what American karate means. My karate instructor emphasized that America is a melting pot. There's all kinds of different people. In this class tonight, there's all kinds of different people that your ancestors came from all kinds of different places. And we're all Americans. And we learn to, those like my family's German, they learn to leave the German behind them and become Americans. They didn't entirely leave the German behind them. They added things to it. They added being an American. And so that's the case with the martial arts as well. We don't do a rigid style because Asa and Ali are right in the middle of my picture. They're completely two different people. They have different strengths, different weaknesses. One kind of martial arts skill would not apply to both of them. I remember when I was a kid, there was a little Hispanic guy that was in class, Jose, was a great guy to work with. He was about 5'1", and he had legs about this long. Where's my camera? He had legs about that long. And so he was trying to do taekwondo and high kicks and stuff. I'm not tall. I had a hard time doing some of the taekwondo kicks, but he was in the wrong place. He should have been practicing Ishinryu karate or something to that point that emphasized his strengths. Because he was a bull moose. He was strong as could be, but there was no way he was going to do high aerial kicks. Okay, thank you, Marjorie, again. Let me find another victim. Well, I'm not gonna exclude this just the black belts. Let's get Asa. I'm gonna come down to you. All right, Asa, knock one off for us. Good work, Asa.
My apologies. I'm not used to doing this in our living room. I'm sorry.
I know, I understand completely. Go ahead, Avian. Do Chun-Ji for us.
Gonna do Chun-Ji. You did ask for 8.
I know you said 8.
You're good. Keep going. Good job, Avian.
Good job, Avian.
Thank you.
Somebody's got their music playing, which is sort of inappropriate.
Blue means boy. Blue means boy.
Right. Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save 50% or more.
Somebody's got their radio on. Okay. Samhita, it's your shot. You're on. No, Samhita, I want you to do a kata. She got that straight.
Of course, you would do it on one too.
Good job. That kata, of course, is Sayuchin, and a lot of different karate systems do Sayuchin. But the Shinryu version of it is sort of stripped down. Some of the other kata styles of karate, they do a much more stylized version of it. All right. Sebastian, let's try not to do one that you're all over the camera. You're on, buddy.
I'm gonna do a long one too.
Whatever you want.
No, no. Good. What is David K?
Thank you, Sebastian. All right, that kata is choreo. That's a taekwondo form. But there's my point on taekwondo. Every school of taekwondo does that a little bit different. We do a turning sidekick. That's what I was taught. A lot of schools do step in front sidekick on that spot. All right. David, are you here? Guess not. You must have lost David. Okay. Warner? Okay, thank you, Warner. That was Sanshin. Sanshin's a dynamic tension form. So Mr. Phelps was creating his own tension as he was doing that. All right. Levi, are you by yourself? Okay, you're on. Let's see a kata. All right, good job. All right, let me see. Who was it that wanted to do this in the very beginning? Oh, Madeline. Let's get to Madeline here for a second. I don't think so. Sorry. There you are. All right, Madeline. Sorry. Good job. All right, I'm going to try to get to Lenny. Of course, these slugs don't want to cooperate with me on these computers. There you are, Lenny. All right, Lenny, we're on. All right, great job, Lenny. Okay, there's a few people that I'm not getting to, and that we're out of time. Greg's up there warming up, but we're not going to be able to do it. Let me get to me. Okay. All right, so starting with Aiden and Madan and Craig Frederick. I didn't get to you tonight, and we're 10 minutes over class, so I'm going to have to end class. But Tuesday, when we have class, we'll start off with you guys when we do some comments. Okay? So they're supposed to, the stay-at-home order is supposed to expire next week. But like I told you, they're not in the schools. So I can't imagine that they would say, okay, well, we're going to keep the schools closed, but all the kids can go to the recreation center. I don't think so. I don't think that's happening. So we should plan on a couple more weeks of online classes because I think that's the way it's going to work out. So we definitely have this class scheduled on Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. Again, I posted several of the instructors, David Hankins, Marjorie Streck, Annie Kaplan, Angie Moore, all posted instruction videos on the Greensboro Karate Institute Karate Do site, and I have links to that on the announcement section of the group page. So the group page is the one with the Greensboro Karate Institute logo on it, and there's an announcement section, and there's links to all these pages. Also, Hamilton Perkins does a class on Mondays and Wednesdays, or at least on Wednesdays. That's what I was asking him if I was wrong about that. And I have links on that on the group page also. and they're very informative. Those are great classes. And one of his students, Travis, I think that's where I'm getting confused. Travis has a class on Monday from Moxville, and Mr. Perkins has a class on Wednesday. And I try to post links to those so that you can go and observe the class anyway. Okay. Don't forget that I've got the instructors from our school to post these videos, so people need to go and look at them. They're very informative. Everybody's doing a great job. They're really good videos, so you need to go and look at that. Okay, and like I said, in future classes, we're going to work on a spinning hook kick. So everybody practice those crescent kicks because they loosen up your muscles and your back muscles so that you're able to do the other kick. All right. Let's salute out. Everybody come to attention. Why do we follow the rule?
Because it's the right
It's the
thing.
right thing to do.
Respect. Who's number one?
I am.
Good job. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Bill.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Great class, sir. Thank you.
More than welcome.
And my dog too.
Good kata, Samhita. You too, Madeline. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks as always.
I do want these. Bye. 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 Leave the meeting, please. I'm confused. I can't leave anything.